Thank you for joining us for this episode. Today, we're joined by Kevin Wilhelm for Marketing for ECPs, and we're going to be discussing how to make your marketing not suck on the OI Show. Thanks again for joining us for this episode. I'm stoked and excited to be on with my friend Kevin from Marketing for ECPs. Kevin, it's awesome to have you. Thanks for joining me, buddy.
Yeah, you too. I usually love seeing you in person, but I'll settle for virtual if that's the
We'll
way we.
settle. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Nobody knows the difference if they're listening, but we're on video as well. Sometimes we post it on YouTube and stuff, so people will be able to see it. But it's awesome to get to hang out with you. We have had several dinners together and have got to know. I love you as a leader. I love just watching you interact with your team and how you help your team be better for their clients and each other. But tell us a little bit about how you got to marketing for ECPs and how this is the route you're going, like eyeballs and healthcare. Like you're not an eye doctor, you're not an eye care person. How did you end up here, man?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for that. I when I decided to start a marketing agency, I knew I wanted to be different, and that's going to be a theme of what, probably what I talk about later. We wanted to be unique, and so at the time, it was either be geographically, relevant, so my area's best marketing company, or a product like the best website or social media company, or an industry. And to be honest with you, we started 11 years ago, and the industry I started in was home services. So roofing, electrician, plumbing, HVAC. And we had that company, we had a program, we were doing well. And I met a lady named Trudy Charay. I'm guessing many of your listeners have met or heard of Trudy. She, at that time, was 30 years optician in the industry, worked for everyone from B&L to Optos to, at the time, I Recommend, which is a large Canadian buying group kind of association. And she convinced me and said, the opportunity is in optometry. We need somebody who thinks this way, who brings a full marketing program that can solve a lot of the problems. Right now, we have a lot of product companies. We don't have marketing companies. And I made her a deal. I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll get into optometry if you come and join me as a partner. And so she's very entrepreneurial. And so she ended up taking that opportunity. She resigned from her job and joined me as a partner. And we basically started in Canada. We are Canadian based, and kind of went to her contacts and had a whole bunch of lunches and dinners across Canada. And she opened the door and I came in and showed our program, and it just started snowballing from there. And it seemed that we really solved, or maybe we captured an opportunity to help practice owners that knew they could do something different. They were kind of stuck behind their own sort of glass ceiling of what would the potential of their practice could be, and saw us as an opportunity to kind of break through that and
Yeah.
help more people.
Yeah. Contrast what you presented and sold back then
Mm.
to what it would look like if you went to dinner with me today and were like, hey, here's what we can offer you.
Yeah, so the services are similar. The packaging is different. So
Hmm.
when we started, uh, we were a little different in that we offered a all-inclusive. You kind of take the whole package, and we were $2,500 a month, not including any of your advertising costs. It was just sort of like your services cost, but we offered an exclusivity agreement, meaning we sort of drew out boundaries of kind of the streets in your community, and said we're not going to work with anyone else, in these boundaries. And so people, every engagement was a negotiation of territory in essence. It worked really, really well. When COVID hit and needs of the industry changed, needs of our clients changed, we had to relook at the business and say we have to make some changes. And so where we have adopted and evolved to is really supporting the industry as a whole by removing the exclusivity and not mandating such a full service solution. Now we are more consultative with our clients, and we will work with them at any level. So some really only require a website. They might be in a small town and they just want a better online presence. And then there's some that are competing in really high dense areas with spec savers beside them and big online competitors and the Costcos. And they need way more than what we had before. And so we're building new suites of products and services. And so we build a program based on the needs of our clients and, at any budget level. And the key difference when we talk about removing exclusivity is really being able to tell the individual story of that practice. And so a big part of our job is to pull out from them what makes them unique, who is the ideal patient they're going for, what is the price point of that patient, are they technology based, are they selection based, are they specializing in medical niches like dry eye or vision therapy, and really helping tell their story so that they can own their own market in their area. So that's really how we've evolved.
Yeah. But before we were talking and started recording the episode, we were discussing this dry eye specific meeting that happens in Canada every year. And you said that these are the type of clients that we want, and that is somebody who wants to do something at another level. So somebody, the Joe Optometry or Jill Optometry, who's just doing eye exams and they just kind of want to do normal things, but they don't want to excel or stand apart in anything. Those are probably not your clients, but the people who, want to have a boutique optical or they want to have a specialty in a certain area, those seem to be the type of people that, fit a little bit better for you. And I would think that those are the types of people who would also be wanting to spend money at a larger scale with a part of their budget. And I want to get into budget a little bit because I've heard you talk over the years a little bit about setting your budget. And I think it would be really important for us to have a little bit of a conversation. Generally in optometry, dating back to the early 2000s, there was an organization that was called the Management and Business Academy. It was put together by CIBA Vision originally and Essilor, and they kind of helped really put on the map of how should you run your practice. Like this much should be kind of towards your cost of goods and your rent, and this much should be marketing. And marketing was 2%. And to some extent, marketing, 25, 30 years ago, there wasn't a lot of places you could market. You could market in your yellow pages, and maybe you could buy a billboard. Maybe you could run something on TV, but that was usually outside the realm of what most people would be spending their money on. So 2% has been historically this number, and it's never really changed. And I've always kind of said that, if 2% is your budget, that's your budget to stay where you are. But if you want to grow, particularly in a specialty, you need to be setting a budget that's higher so that you can reach a higher level. Like you should be spending the marketing dollars for the way you want your practice to be. Can you kind of talk about what you teach and how what you recommend for coming up with a marketing budget and why it works to grow your practice?
Yeah, and first of all, I can tell you've been listening because that was like verbatim things that I say. So I appreciate that. You know what the big difference is there are some major competitors that are outspending this industry, and I can't drive to my house or to a restaurant in my city without seeing a Specsavers ad. Right now, marketing a $99 eye exam that includes OCT, like, it includes everything, and so now it's like, okay, their frequency is high, their value proposition seems to be high. So how does the independent compete at this level? And unfortunately, this has caused the world to change. And so 2%, I don't even think many were even doing 2%. I think they put a sign above their door, Dr. X optometrist, and people came. The progressive business owners would have an ad in Yellow Pages. I think now, if you really want to compete, and you're competing for also your current clients and your current patients, and I think that's important for people to realize that they are consumers. They have choice, and they're being advertised to every day by large conglomerates that have a lot of money that are strategically marketing. And so people want to support local. That is a definitive statement that I will make. We want to support local. And so we just have to show up enough times to make sure that we're not forgotten and that we can stay relevant. So the formula that you're sort of referencing and what I've been talking about for a long time has been if you look at last year's sales and last year's expense line for marketing, you're right. If it's 2%, that 2% will keep you where you are. If you want to grow by 10%, if you want to grow by 20%, then look at the increased revenue that means, and then take 10% of that number and add it to your marketing budget. So if you want to grow by $100,000 next year, then you want a $10,000 additional marketing budget, because growth is expensive. You have to go out and start talking to people that don't know who you are. You have to start going a little bit of a wider reach. And so it does cost some money to have, get in front of people. And there's so many more effective ways to do it today, whether it's through social media or through Google search engines, or even direct mail and bus bench ads. Like, there's effective ways to really get your message out. But when you stop talking about yourself, you're letting the big competitors do all the talking for you. And that's where competition, it's hard, because if they're everywhere, you got to be somewhere at least to remind them. And people advertise for three reasons. There's three P's. There is profit. So I want to advertise to try to drive my revenue and profitability. There is prestige, which I'm going to say a lot of realtors love having their face on billboards. They love having that out there. That's their brand, is them, right? Their product is them. So that's a prestige play. And the third one is protection. And it's protecting your market share. And it's sort of like an insurance to make sure that your patients know that you're still around. They know that you're still relevant, that you still offer that local touch. And we know that the service providing, the service level is higher. And so we have to tell that story and tell that message effectively to our patients.
Yeah. So my audience here, we have a specialty type of care that we are doing. We're, specifically targeting a certain type of entity, say myopia management. So the sign on the door was what we used to be our marketing, right? To me, that has changed to that's your website, right? Your website is the bare minimum of where you need to start. That's the anchor that everything else is going to come back to. Any Google, any Facebook, any Instagram, anything that's going to come back to our website. Why are we failing right now with websites in eye care? And what is it that we need to be doing better?
We are missing the opportunity and realizing the impact that a website has. I think we look at it as a necessary evil. Like, I have to have it. Therefore, I'm going to spend the least amount possible, both in time and money. I'm not going to think about updating it. It's just there. Because my patients are referred to me by my existing patients. Like, new people come because they're being referred. And now I want you to think about you as a consumer, like people listening as a consumer. If you're referred to a new restaurant, as an example, and someone says, oh, you got to check out this restaurant, it's this new up and coming thing. Well, we may not go to their website for a restaurant. We are going to go to their Instagram page, and we are going to do some sort of research. And we're trying to affirm what the referral said to my own values and making sure that they're aligned. So the website has to tell your story uniquely and effectively. And unfortunately, I believe a lot of my competitor, companies, we look at scale at such a level where everyone has the same website and everyone has the same imaging and the same headline. And so on your street, you might be one of three people that have the same exact website. Well, if you're a new patient and you're researching and you go to three different sites, well, the only factor that I'm going to choose now is price, because I haven't heard anything different. Whereas with your practice specifically, you're telling such a unique story and a unique offering that you're attracting people that are looking for something different. And so if you can tell your story that shows why you're different, now you're giving me a reason to come to you, and price becomes far less of an important factor, because I care about the difference. I care about your value proposition beyond price. And so if we really do treat our websites like the ultimate salesperson, the ultimate storyteller of what makes us unique and what makes us different from the spec savers and from the lens crafters of the world, then we have a much better chance of attracting the right type of patient, which is what everybody wants. They want that patient that values what they offer. They're not price shoppers. They're compliant to the treatment plans. They are buying and higher end lenses. They're buying nutraceuticals. They're investing in their eye health. And so the only way to get those right patients is to tell your story.
Yeah. And, in the arena of website, we also have spending money on your website so it runs well, right? So there's a good looking website, and I say that's the Ferrari, but you can have a Ferrari that acts like a Pinto, or you can have a Pinto that acts like a Ferrari. There's people whose websites look horrible, but are performing very well because they've got good draw. They're bringing people into it, whether that converts over to a patient in the door or not. I would probably say not as well, but it's performing well. Talk to us a little bit about performance of a website and the difference between just a good looking one. And I'll give you my background on this is I worked with a website designer, and we developed a website that I had for probably 5 years. And I thought it was a really good and attractive website. Other people said it was attractive and looked really good. But I asked your team to do an assessment, and I think we've been together as customers of yours for maybe 4 or 5 years. And you just showed me how the guy next door, who his practice is super small, he was ranking way higher than me in keratoconus, and I'm known for the keratoconus, right? So all the other eye doctors know about me as keratoconus, but all the patients are going to see that other guy because his website ranks higher than that, and that's a problem. So talk to us a little bit about performance versus just looking good.
Yeah, I mean, when the word performance has a lot to it. So you have the technical performance, which is it runs fast, it shows up on every device, it's
Hmm.
optimized for large cell phones, small laptops, desktops. So there's the technical side,
Yeah.
and Google gives a lot of points for that. So you want it to rank well when someone's searching for keywords in your area, and Google will look at the technical aspect, and that really does matter. And then there is the other side of performance is what you're saying and the look that you do give. And I think that um, there's it's being unique, it's being concise, it's telling your value proposition effectively. It's having consistently a brand identity that evokes a certain emotion and synonym for what you want, whether it's trust or expertise. Um, and so there's a lot that goes into performance. And when we build a website, part of the we have our technical best practices, which every website is built on those. And then we really dig in with our clients to find out how do we effectively create this unique asset for you, this unique website that's going to attract the right type of patient base for you. So performance really is two-sided on this. We have to make sure that it has the right amount of content, that it's uniquely written, that it's meeting all of Google's best practices, and they update their algorithms multiple times a year. Our team has to stay on top of that. Then we have to go back to the websites and say, okay, we have to make these updates and changes to always stay at the top of our game so that our clients continue to rank really high. And our websites do that. We take a lot of pride in the performance of our websites, both from a ranking perspective, but also a conversion, which is how many people land on your website that actually take an action, which is call you or book an appointment, and we track all of that. And so we are constantly looking to drive that performance up, both in where you rank, but also how well the website performs. And then we marry that with what's actually happening in the practice. Are you seeing the type of patients you want to see? Are you seeing the ones that are spending money, that are coming in, that are perhaps not on insurance, that are whatever your objectives are, we're trying to match those and making sure the website reflects that.
So, the other arena that I don't know that I want to spend too much time on with you, because it could be a whole podcast on its own, is the subject of social media. I think our social media, more than anything, is it builds our credibility, kind of along the same lines of somebody may go to Instagram rather than my YouTube page, or go to my website, and they may see that, hey, I haven't posted in 7 months, so maybe we're just old and we don't do anything, right? So I think there's a component of social media that needs to have some sort of a relevancy. And it may not be that people are like always seeing your posts, but it may more often be that people go to your social media in order to see what you're doing. But specifically, what I want to ask you about is how do we measure success from our marketing dollars? And what I mean by this is I've sat down with your team and we've looked at my website and its performance, and there's hundreds and thousands of people, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds and thousands of people that are coming to the site. But how is somebody to know that those are converting? How can you help me measure conversions into the office? I want butts in the chair more than looks on the site, right? They mean nothing to me unless the butts in the chair go way up.
Yeah, I think it's important to know the role of marketing in your website is to make the phone ring. So right there is where a lot of the success should be measured. And then it kind of becomes an operational thing of how to actually get them in. Do you have the upright appointment schedules? Are you answering the phone? How are you getting them in the door? We just as a we believe in full transparency on all fronts, and so we provide full call tracking, full form tracking. If you have an online appointment system, we track how many people are booking online appointments for you, so we can provide you with how many people saw an ad, clicked on the ad, came to your website, what they did at that point. Did they call? Did they book an appointment? Did they fill out a form? And we have call recording as well. And so some practices like to listen every once in a while, and our team will listen periodically to hear what is the percentage of phone calls that come in that actually are appointment opportunities, and how many book and come to see you, and how many are new versus returning. And so sometimes in our diagnosis phase where we're trying to understand the whole program performance, we'll dig into that. Sometimes the office manager has the ability to do that, but we do provide those metrics and analytics so that you can see, okay, then my marketing is working. It is interesting in the world we're in today because there's a word we use called attribution, which is how much weight do you give any form of marketing to the end result, which is a new patient coming in the door. And what's interesting is you talk about social media, and I would confirm with you that I believe that your Instagram is it's the confirmation that someone should do business with you. So they may get referred to by an existing friend, family member, patient. The quickest one is they're going to look you up on Instagram. They're going to look, and maybe you showcase your frames, maybe you showcase your expertise and what you're offering from a specialty standpoint, and go, oh, he really knows what he's talking about. I'm going to book in. But there's no ability to book in on your Instagram page. So what happens is they click on your website, they go to your website, they then call, and they may not follow you on Instagram in that moment. They might not have liked any of your posts, and they're definitely not going back 3 months and liking old posts. Like, that's kind of a weird thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
but what's interesting is for sure your Instagram page has attributed to the end goal of getting someone signed up. It's just, it shows up nowhere in the metrics. And so we
Right.
have to just understand that, do people go online and research you? Yes. Are they going to places like Facebook and Instagram to do their research? Yes. Are they going to your website? Yes. And then ultimately, is your practice accomplishing the goals that you want to accomplish? And so we do we do the best we can from an attribution standpoint, and we see how many visits and likes and impressions those things got. But ultimately, all you care about is the needle moving in the direction that I want it to go. And if it is,
Yeah.
great. And if it's not, then we gotta try some new things. We
Yeah.
gotta go back to the drawing board.
I think many people get discouraged by their Instagram account, particularly the business account, not growing as fast as maybe their personal account is growing, and they're totally different things. Last thing I want you to do, and let's imagine that nobody's going to come to be a customer of yours because I think they will, but what I'm really curious about is if you could tell somebody what to do to analyze their current marketing and what they should be looking for in a company to do business with. Like, what are the things that they need to be looking for if they're like, okay, I have $10,000 more next year to spend? Like, how do I find somebody that's going to help me smartly spend that money?
So I could give you advice to go to your Google Analytics page and look at this and look at that. People won't do that. I'm happy to look at it. So if you want someone to give you an audit on your analytics, give that to us. We're happy to do that. I would say find somebody that knows you but doesn't intimately, like a cousin or somebody, and ask them just to find an eye doctor online. Search for someone near them and
Mm-hmm.
give you their perception of your company. Did you find me easily? What do you think I'm about? Do you think I'm expensive or not? Do you think I service families or I don't? Who would you have chosen? Who are the people that you would have picked? And just like watch them in your living room on their phone and see what they do. Do they go to Instagram to research you? What are their, and ask them just to talk out loud. What do you think when you go to my Instagram page? What do you think when you go to my competitor's page? What are you seeing? Because that is what's really happening in the market. So ask someone to do a quick analysis as a patient to say, if you're looking in this area for a new eye doctor, can you just go through the motions and without any perceptions of my competitors or anything around me, just tell me what you think. And would you do business with us? Did you find us? Would you do business with us? And tell me why or why not. And you're going to know really fast if your marketing is working and if it's effective.
Yeah.
And ask the existing, new patients that are coming in, how did you find us? But why did you choose us? Those are two different questions. Everyone always asks how you found us, right? Google, word of mouth. But that's great. Why'd you choose us? What was it
Yeah.
on our marketing? What was it on our website that grabbed you and said, ooh, is it the fact that we offer free parking? Is it that we had convenient times for an eye exam? Or was it the About Us page and that we showed you that we're humans that you want to do, that you want to come in and see every day? And so asking those questions will really help if you determine if you're telling the right story.
How can people find more about you and marketing for ECPs?
Yeah, our website is marketingforecps.com. So for ECPS, the acronym is eyecareprofessionals.com. They can look me up on LinkedIn and send me a note anytime. Ask me any questions you have. My email is kevin@forecps.com. Yeah, we're happy to have conversations. We offer full marketing audits. We offer full consultations. And if you follow us on Instagram, we provide free resources every week. Things like how to calculate your marketing budget, how to increase your SEO, how to make your website more effective. Things that if you're not using us, but you still want to become better at marketing, that we're offering that every day. So feel free to follow us and download any of those resources.
It's awesome, buddy. I love how you give. And if it works out to be a customer, then it'll work out. And I think it does most of the time. So I appreciate your generosity. And thanks for hanging out with us today on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate the conversation.
And thank you for joining us for this episode. Make sure to like, subscribe. And if you'd tell a friend, that would be the greatest compliment. Leave us a 4-star, 5-star, 7-star, whatever star review that you can. And we'll see you next time on The OI Show.